Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Youth Intake Challenge. We'll be doing a quick end of season review to see how we got on from last season, which was the first season in charge. We'll then be looking to negotiate our way through the transfer window. Bearing in mind we can't sign players, you would think it would be easy, but it's more about keeping the players we've got at the club and trying to stop them leaving, which I'll go into more detail when we're in to the full episode. And setting us up for the start of next season. So a very short, sharp episode. It shouldn't take too long. Quick review and then we'll bang on with the rest of it. So stay tuned and we'll see how we got on last season. Welcome back then. So in terms of the new arrivals, there won't be any because we're not signing any players in this save. So no free transfers, no loans, no signings. So as you can see on the screen, these new arrivals, don't let it fool you, this is transfers out, of which a lot of these players I can't remember even seeing. Jeremy Giebi I never saw. Anthony Jeffrey, we did try and offer a new contract before he left, but he wouldn't sign one, so he went. Juan Adio I didn't know. Clifton I don't recall. Krasnicki, nope. Craig Graham Barrett I don't know. Danny Mills I vaguely remember. They're not the real Danny Mills being there, and Manny Parry, so they all left. Again, we'll see a lot of players leaving as we go along, and you won't see the incomings because they'll be through the youth intake. But in terms of the season's results then, it was quite a good season. I would say we were predicted to have a top half finish, which we just achieved. So we finished 11th out of 24 teams, so that is just in the top half. The season went all right. We got a good start with a couple of victories. Lots of draws in amongst there and a couple of defeats scattered out. So a fairly good spread. We did have a little good patch there you can see in the middle, running from end of October through November and December. And then towards the end, I mean, what got the better of us really was rotating players. Players got tired. 46 game seasons, quite a lot of games, especially when you only have like 12 first team players and you get 3 or 4 of them injured. So it was a slog, I'm not going to lie. With the new players coming in from the youth intake, I'm hoping it'll be easier in a rotational base. But as you'll see when we go through the transfer window, it's very difficult to try and keep players who don't want to be here. Certainly some of our midfielders who we want to keep and we've signed on 2-year contracts have already come saying that they don't feel the squad's strong enough and they want to leave. So it's about trying to find a way to keep a hold of them as we go into the next season. If we just go back, FA Cup, we did all right. Again, we got through a large number of rounds, beat Tavistock, took 2 turns against Hungerford, beat Boreham Wood away, which was a good result, and then we finally met up with Plymouth Argyle, who gave us a right good spanking. Top goal scorer for us in that competition was Pingling. Top scorer in the league was Richard Pingling. So you can see he's done pretty well for us. And English FA Trophy, we got all the way to the semi-final against Crewe Alexander. But then they sorted us out well and truly. Again, tired players and injuries. It unpicked us by the time we got to that stage of the season. Moments to remember then, we had a 6-0 thumping of Southend. Amoako getting a hat-trick. So one of our youth players who was there when we first arrived. So that's good to see. Some development coming through. Again, you see in the 3-1 victory against St Albans, you see R. Pingling. He got a goal. Jay Gilder, he's one of the youngsters that was there last season. So again, seeing a couple of the youngsters get on the score sheet is good. We just need to develop them as we go on. And then goal of the season was from Shakumbi. He is a player we really need to try and keep, but he wants away. So that's going to be the crux of the summer. We've signed all the youngsters for 2 years. It's trying to keep the Shakumbis, the Binham Williams, the Pinglings, just for one more season while we develop those players. In terms of finances then, everything's gone up, which is always good. We did well in some of the competitions, so it generated some revenue. In terms of the lineup last season, we had 3 young players came through. One of them's not on here because he was a centre-half. He didn't quite get the game time we wanted. However, you can see that Amayako and Gilder, Gilder played 51 games for us last season in his first season through the youth system. So them two have played fantastically. Hopefully they've developed sufficiently to be first teamers in this next season, which is going to be very, very difficult. Will it be harder than the first season? I'm not sure. I think it might. We'll see. Let me know in the comment section how you think this one might pan out. In terms of accolades, nothing for me as a manager. Fans player of the season was Shukumbi, which is no surprise. Young player of the season was Riley Scott, one of our 23-year-old midfielders. Shukumbi got goal of the season. We saw Richard Pingling was top goal scorer with 25. Again, he was our only real striker, and we've got some youths come through now, so he might find his game time limited. Most assists, Shukumbi. Most player of the match awards, Shukumbi. Highest average rating, Shukumbi. So you can see why we want to keep Shukumbi. He's only 26 years old, and we need to kind of keep him there as that experienced bit of gel in the middle of the park. Most passes completed in 90 minutes, Michael Chambers. And then in terms of record breaking, I mean, it's the first season this team's been in the division, so they're all records. So goals in a season, most league goals, most goals by a player in a match, Amayako, which is good because he's one of the young players that's come through. So what we're wanting to see is that little yellow marker to say it's a youth system. We want to see more of them come through. But yeah, all in all, an alright season. We've got Nchamas, the youngest player, 15 years and 257 days. He played a game just after the youth intake came through. And Dean Spence, who's one of our attacking midfielders / strikers, he scored a goal on one of his appearances as well, which is fantastic to see. And as this save develops and we get them first batch up to, say, early 20s to mid 20s, I think we'll really start picking up some results along the way. But this first 2 to 3 years is going to be difficult. History in the making then. I mean, the manager timeline's quite good. We've only just done one season though, so I'm not going to read too much into that at this stage. But as you can see, there's a lot of messages in there about trusting in youth, so that's the theme of this save, and that's good to see. One thing we're going to do quickly, just before I do anything else, is make that board request again for improved youth recruitment. So we'll go in there and say we want it. Let's see what they say when they come back. Normally they come back and say no. You might be here if I can get it through quick enough. We might well see what they want. So again, record number of points, etc. for Dulwich Hamlet. It's not a surprise because this is the first season. When I vote for a manager of the year, I tend to go for the win ratio. So Mark Beard, well done. You get my vote. A weekly staff meeting can go into the background. What we're wanting to see is what the board say. Oh, Alfie Allen wants to discuss personal matters. He wants to move as he wants to play with better players, highly influential, and we need to try and appease him. So we'll have a quick chat with him and see what he wants. He's concerned about the strength of the squad and wants to be sold to a bigger club. And this is the problem we're going to have when we bring the youngsters in for the first few seasons, is they're going to look very underwhelming to the established players. I think we've got some young prospects. We want him to stay. We could ask him what it would take to keep him here, but I think he'd ask for signings. He wants to go. Would a pay rise tempt him? No. So we've got an unhappy player in the ranks now, which isn't great. And the board have rejected the youth recruitment. Let's go in and chat with them. I think it would be great if we scale up our youth recruitment. They think it's fine. I'd argue it's an area we can't be satisfied with. We should always be looking to improve. So they're prepared to do it. So actually, this time round, we've got a youth recruitment improvement, which is fantastic. So what I'll do now is I'll click through to the start of the season. Before I do that, actually, we'll just have a quick look on how the youth players got on in terms of appearances. So Fredericks didn't get a game. Fontas got one game as a substitute appearance, so he's not had too much established. Atienza, the centre half, 21 games, 2 goals. He's gone up to 1.5 stars already with a 5-star potential, so good for him. Marlon Brophy, 1 little minor sub appearance. Gene Elsie got 2 full appearances. We might see more of him. James Cookings, nothing yet. Amoako, as we've talked, 26 games, 9 goals. He's already at 1.5 stars as well, so developing well. Ben Nchama, 1 game, he became the youngest player. John Schaff, 2 sub appearances, he's already at 1.5 stars. Lee Ness, only 1 sub appearance. Oscar Allen, 3 appearances, he's one of the ones at the higher star ability, so he's 16 and got 2 stars. So again, I think he'll be one of the ones that features most often next season. Emmanuel, 3 appearances at right wing. He's not quite reached 1 full star yet, so Sean Murray might get the nod ahead of him at 1 star already. Dean Spence, he's had 2 games and a goal, which 2-star ability already. He might be the one that starts taking a place. I think he can play up top as well, but we'll see. Reedus Shabani, 1 sub appearance. Jake Gilder, he got 51 appearances and 11 goals, which is absolutely phenomenal for his first season. And I think he'll feature heavily as we move into season number 2. And then Aaron Hales, no appearances. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click through, get us to the start of next season, so get through the transfer window, because that'll determine how many players we manage to keep a hold of. I'll let you who we haven't managed to keep, and that'll give us a rough idea of what our squad will be for this season. I will also feed into the league preview to give us a sense of odds of what we're going to do next season. So stick around. I'll get through to the start of the season. We'll see what state the squad's in. I think we've got 30 players as it currently stands, and we'll see how many got when we get to day 1. So I'll be back shortly. Welcome back, and remarkably we've managed to get all the way through to the first game of the season without having lost anybody, which is quite a feat, because I've had 4 players come to me and tell me they want to leave. In fact, if you go to where is it, I think Promises, Michael Chambers is still wanting some youth development in midfield. Alfie Allen wants to leave, Bonham Williams wants to leave, and Chukwumbi wants to leave. So 3 of our best players want to go. I've told them they can go, but I'm not actively accepting any offers or touting them about. What that means is we've got a fairly big squad. We've got a huge number of potential. One thing to notice though is in the friendlies, Oscar Allen looks like he is going to be the best of our bunch coming through this year's youth system. 16-year-old New Zealand striker. He's been scoring goals for fun. 5 appearances, 7 goals and 2 assists. Unfortunately, just before the opening game of the season, he has picked up a pulled hamstring and will be out between 8 days and 2 weeks. So I think he might well become our top goal scorer for the season, but I don't know when we'll first see him. All that being said, schedule-wise, we have got the opening game of the season against Southend, and just for a bit of fun, I will play it on camera, just so you've got something to see how the team performs and give you a kind of a barometer of how the season may or may not go. And that way you can predict in the chat channel below where you think we'll end up in the season, whether you think we'll do better or worse, and whether you think we can put together any kind of a playoff push. So I'll get through to the game. We'll get some youngsters out there for a run out, and we'll see if we can start season 2 with a really positive bounce. Welcome back then to start off season 2. Here is the starting lineup. We've got Ruddy in goals. We've got a really settled back four: Binham Williams, Chambers, Ekpiteta and Scarlett. A reasonably settled middle 2 of Allen and Chukwumbi. And then across the mid 3 behind the striker, we've got Gilder on the left, Amoako on the right, who were the youngsters from last season. Spence comes in as the best of the new bunch to start in that attacking midfielder role. And then Pingling comes in up front, whilst Oscar Allen is out injured, and he'll be back as soon as we can, hopefully, because I think he's the one to excite the viewers for the young player of the season this time round. We'll get out there. We're playing a balanced mentality. We've done all right in the friendlies. We're not touted to do particularly well in a league, but I'll show you the preview after the match, and let's see if we can get off to a positive start. We'll call it positive start. I'm not going to say a winning start. Just not losing might be quite positive, as we get an initial ball over the top. Chukwumbi's going to be key. If we can keep him, I think we're in with an alright chance. If we start to lose Chukwumbi, Allen and Binham Williams, we're going to be in for a very rough season. The aim for the season is to avoid relegation. That's the club ambition. So I don't think they're predicting us to do anything particularly well. And the teams around us must have strengthened, but I think we've got enough about us to at least do a mid-table again. I don't think we've got any weaker. And as the players develop throughout the season, if we can get players starting to gust towards 2-star or 3-star ability, I think we might be able to make a late push. Again, this type of save is going to take a good 1, 2, 3 years before you get some players developed into the squad at a higher level, before you can really start putting strong sides out and really having a better expectation of winning something, because not being able to sign players is very, very difficult on Football Manager. So a couple of chances earlier on, Southend really growing into the match. We've not really had anything too much up the other end. Southend have a free kick, and again it goes over the bar. If we can get to half-time level, I think that's positive, as Williams will take a free kick. Chambers gets up with a header. So two of the old sweats, the vets as we'll say, have combined from a corner, a set piece routine. In it goes. Chambers leaping highest, getting the nod to put Dulwich 1-0 up. And that's the start we've been looking for. Hopefully we don't give it away straight away before half time. Southend looks like they're going to fashion a chance just before the break. In it goes to Newby. Looked offside to me initially there, but we cleared the ball. Another corner coming in from Southend just before half time. Initially cleared. It was saved initially, but it's been put in at the second attempt to put Southend back on level pegging. Bridge with the ball in. Compton with the header. Already saved it initially. Younger gets up ahead of his player at the back post and sticks it to 1-1. Had to make a change. Elsie's come on for Bin and Williams. And it looks like they might squeeze in one more chance just before half time. Cashman with a good shot, but Ruddy palming it away. One final corner. In it goes. Second bite of the cherry. It's been recycled out. Are they going to get a shot? He gets a shot away, but it's not really threatening us in any way. So half time 1-1. We've got our first goal of the season through Chambers. We're not particularly dominating, but I think the first few games it's going to be settling down and letting a few players develop and get into the squad, getting a settled first 11, hopefully encouraging the mainstays to stay until the end of the season. I'm looking at Shakumbi and Allen. If we can keep them for a bit longer, we should be alright. But I think we could easily get into a relegation battle should them players go. And we're not getting off to a particularly good start because Southend have gone 2-1 up just at the start of the second half. So a throw in down the left-hand side. They've overloaded that left-hand side. Panny breaks into the box and fires a shot past Ruddy into the far corner to put them 2-1 up. Our chance to break down the right this time with Scarlett. He puts it in. Allen picks up the loose ball. Out to Shakumbi at the edge of the box, but he can't hit the target. Shakumbi's normally better than that. Whether he's affected by wanting to get away, I'm not sure. Spence plays the ball to Gilder on the left-hand side. Into LZ. He gets a shot, but it's cleared and Southend will start to push up the other end of the pitch. So we had a couple chances. We just need to get a little bit of momentum. Dean Spence not playing particularly great, but again, we've got to give them the exposure to the first team to develop. Shakumbi over the top to Amoako. He gets a shot, but it's blocked initially. He gets a second chance to deliver. Elsley this time will get a chance to put it in, but we can't get that clear-cut opportunity that we want to maybe get Pingling an opportunity. Looks like Ruddy dived out the way there. I'm not sure what he was doing. Long ball over the top, and just when we looked like we were getting back in the game, a missed header by Chambers. Cretaro goes forward. Ruddy dives completely out of the way, and Cretaro has put Southend 3-1 up for what will be a damaging start to the season. Shakumbi to Amoako down the right hand side. Into Scarlett. Shakumbi's not hitting the dizzy heights of last season yet. Elsley with a throw in down the left. Spence over the top. Allen drives forward this time. Amoako down the right hand side. In it goes. Own goal from Crompton. Amoako might well get an assist for that. But we're back in it at 3-2. And I think we've been much the better team in the second half. I think we were unlucky to go 2-1 down. Amoako, the youngster, well, he'll become a veteran soon if he stays a bit longer. Putting us there 3-2 up with a deflected cross. 20 minutes to go then. Southend with a corner. We need to keep this one out. Two chances there. Gilder with a chance to break up the other side. Not much support really behind him. Spence holds it up well. Flicks out to the left. LZ. And that's a poor ball inside. 20 minutes to go. It's been quite a good game really. Southend with another chance from a corner. Nearly squeezed the ball in, but we've managed to keep it clear. We'll get Allen off for Scott in the middle of the park. Dean Spence not having a particularly great game. Over the ball went. We had another chance there. 10 minutes to go. One last bit of motivation out there. Shakumbi for Shabani. He's getting tired. Dean Spence is the one I want to keep him on there because he's the one that had the most promise really. I want him to develop quickly within that attacking midfielder role. Ruddy's picked up the ball. Have we got a chance in these final 2 minutes to get the ball up the other end of the park and fashion an opportunity? Scott through the middle. Spence. Oh, he's giving the ball away. Chambers wins it back. Spence this time, can he do something a bit more magical? He does have a shot, but it's a bit wayward. And I think we're going to fall to a 3-2 defeat on the opening game of the season. Not a bad result, but not great. I think we need to fashion a bit more chances. We need our mainstay striker and Allen coming back. Just before we disappear, I'll show you what the previews were, so you have an idea of what they're predicting for the season. So at 50-1 down in 21st, it's not looking great. That'll change as players develop, because I believe this preview is based on your average current ability, so it'll look worse than it is because we're based off the youth intake, but as they develop, that rating will change and we should hopefully pop up a little bit towards mid-table. Let me know in the comment section how you think it's going to go, who you think the player to watch out for is going to be for the season. Maybe have a predict how many goals you might think he's going to get, and I'll get through a large chunk of the season, probably until, like I said in the previous episodes, when the youth intake preview comes in. I'll give you a snapshot of progress there, a little update on what the initial prediction is going to be, and then maybe another game at the same time. So once again, thanks for watching. It's fast becoming one of my favourite saves I think I've ever done, because of the challenge involved in it and the fact you don't have to worry about transfers, etc., or buying the same players over and over again. It's a complete unknown quantity, and that kind of unknown aspect of the game is really quite interesting to me. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Stick a thumbs up on the video if you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell if you want to make sure you follow the episodes all the way through to its conclusion. And until next time, take care and have a good weekend.